Hi, my name is Frankie. Thank you for listening to my mom. I never listen.
You know what? This podcast is so much fun because people ask me all the time, why did I decide to do another podcast? And I decided because I really enjoy meeting the people in the game. And today we're going to visit with Gina Conti from Wake Forest. And I have watched her career and watched her develop over the 4 years on and off the court. And so I'm so pleased that you could be with us, Gina. Thank you for joining.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You know what? I want to start with it. If Wake Forest can make the NCAA tournament, and right now you are in the tournament as of today, according to Charlie Cream, they have Wake Forest in. It could be one of the best stories in the entire tournament because 31 years is the longest drought between any school making the NCAA tournament. And we know you guys have probably heard it a lot. It's been since 1988 that Wake Forest has been in the tournament. What would it mean to you and your teammates if you could get that kind of experience?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's huge. Coming back, like coming to Wake, and that was my whole reason to come to Wake is to help be a part of the team that helps make this difference. And to come into this culture, I saw potential in what Wake Forest had. And the last time being in the tournament was 1988, and so that's super exciting. That's something all 4 years that's been our one of our main goals is to make it to NCAA tournament at the start of each season. It's to be like top four in the ACC and to make it to NCAA's. So to just see the dedication that my teammates and I have put in to this program, and all the times like on the court or whatever it is, off the court, getting to know each other and helping build this culture, it's super exciting and very hopeful. So it will mean a lot to this team and this program.
One of the things Jen kept telling me, Coach Jen Hoover, was, we're going to get this unbelievable facility. When we get this facility, it's going to change everything. I look at you from your freshman year to now, and I'm not going to say that you were chubby, but I'm going to say that you leaned up, if that's fair. Like you're leaner, you're faster, you're stronger, you're quicker. How much has from your freshman year to now the ability to have the kind of high tech, high level people around you helping you do all that affected your game?
Yeah, I would definitely say the facilities have been a major part, even with like the fueling station and our nutrition station that we get, and also our weight room. And I'll give a big shout out to our strength coach, Jenna Reddy, and Jenna Reddy has been someone major into my development and each of our players on our team, just really making it more personalized into what best fits us. And I think that's something big with the facilities that we have in Coach Hoover and her leadership. And that's something that's really, attributed to my game and my personal development.
You know what, Gina? There's a lot of people that don't understand all the resources that student athletes have available to them to get better. So if you want to be a really good player and you want to put in the fitness and the work and the nutrition and all the things that come with it, you have incredible resources. Like you just mentioned a couple, like the fueling station and the nutrition, whatever. Tell us what you guys got going on there at Wake Forest that allows you to perform at your highest level.
I would definitely say also our coaches and the resources and the connections that we've made here, and just like developing us and personally developing us and getting to know us and what makes us tick and how we can also become leaders and help develop, the rest of our team. So I would definitely say our coaches and their leadership.
Let me get your take on this because you were your freshman year, you would come in the game and you'd play and you'd turn it over. And then, you became a 3-year starter. You've worked to get to where you are. And now I think you're a first team all ACC performer. I think you deserve to be on the first team. I think you've earned it. I think the team follows you. I know Ivana Ratza has a lot to do with your success as well. But this is an age where a lot of kids, if they don't play or they turn it over and they get taken out, they immediately want to go to the transfer portal. What would you say about your experience with, some hard times maybe you faced early and now you're seeing the success?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's where I've grown the most, especially coming in my freshman year. And like you said, I would make a mistake and it wasn't like now I'm thinking it's next play. Whereas then I was like, oh my gosh, like I have the whole rest of the game. If I even get the opportunity, it's always second guessing my ability. But I just think that goes with, maturity and like knowing yourself and knowing that if you put the work in, you can rely on the work that you put in. And so I was able to understand that and like, don't beat yourself up over it. And, now I've developed the next play.
How does that next play mentality transfer over to when you're not playing basketball anymore and you're living your life? Because there's not going to be any transfer portal out there if you don't do your job well or if you don't follow if you're late for work, how does that follow up with what you're going to do, the rest of your life?
Yeah, I would just say you have to face adversity. I mean, adversity is going to come whether it's on the court, off the court, in life, and it's easy just to take the easy way out and give up on something, but that's not how you become successful, and that's not where you're going to find growth, whether it's in your career or on the court. So being able to face that adversity and adapt and grow and find it within yourself and the resources around you to grow.
We're talking with Gina Conti, the senior point guard at Wake Forest, who has her team on the cusp of being an NCAA tournament team. It will be the first time in her career that she's been able to play in the NCAA tournament. Gina, when you do what you do at the highest level and you have new pieces that come in every year, how has your leadership formed to allow your team to have the kind of success you're having this season?
My leadership has grown over my 4 years. I would definitely say where it's grown the most is stepping outside of myself and getting to know more of my teammates off the court, and just building those relationships, whether it's reaching out to them or picking them up in practice. I would say I'm a vocal leader and also leader by example, but getting to know my teammates better it's helped me perform better on the court and also help my team grow and be lifted all together. So definitely I would say that.
Yeah. So, for me, you've heard me say this on the air, that good point guards answer the three W's: who to get the ball to, when, and where. Can you answer all that for your team?
Yes, most definitely. I think as a point guard, you specifically need to know that, in late game situations, who I have when I get in the paint and who I can create for and who I know is going to be open, whether it's out of bounds plays and say the play breaks down, who's the person that I'm going to find that I know where they're going to be, or who my shooters are, or whether it's we need a three or we need to get to the basket. So I think that's really important.
Every player has a story. You're from Grove City, Ohio. I know Grove City very well. I used to work at Ohio State. I was employed in the athletic department. I lived in Hilliard. I've lived in Dublin. I've lived in Columbus. I lived in Springfield. I've lived in Beaver Creek over by Dayton. I've lived in Ohio. I spent a lot of time in Ohio. So I know Grove City. What's your story around basketball? Where'd you fall in love with it? Why do you play? You were a really good athlete in high school. You could have played a lot of sports.
Yeah, so my love for the game definitely probably came because of my dad. He played basketball in high school. He played football in college. Both of my sisters played basketball and volleyball in high school. And so at a young age, I was always playing sports. I always wanted to be outside. We have a little basketball court in our backyard. So it was always just shooting in the backyard with my dad. And then once I got around to high school, I had met my trainer, Joni, and she's someone who played at Ohio State, played at Georgia. And she's from my area. And that's my trainer for the last, I don't know, 8 years now. And so she really helped influence my game too. And just like being a woman in the world and different things like that. And so that's definitely where my love for the game came. And then also my development part of it has come through my high school.
So there's so many schools in Ohio, yet Wake Forest was the one that stuck out. Why?
So Wake Forest stuck out because they were one of the early schools who had interest in me. It was my freshman summer when they saw me at like OGBR. And then once I got talking with Coach Hoover and just seeing how she was as a person, as a coach, and I really just was attracted to that and, her family aspect of Wake. And then once I learned more about the school and came on my visit with the academics piece and the connections, and it's more than just after you graduate, the connections you build and the type of people really is the reason why I love Wake.
If you didn't have a natural connection to Wake Forest, did you grow up an Ohio State fan? I mean, you're right outside of Columbus.
Yes, for sure. I always grew up going to the games. Actually, one of my big people who I loved watching was Samantha Perhalis. I don't know if you remember when she was there, but she was flashy, confident, had swag to her, and that was someone who was my idol when I was a kid growing up when she played at Ohio State. So yeah, I always went to Ohio State games.
You know what? That's interesting because if I was going to describe you, those are not any of the adjectives that I would use to describe your game. You're not that flashy. You don't have that big a swag, but you do have some confidence. But you're not like boisterous about the way you play. You just get your job done. I mean, how come you latched on to Sam Perhalis? Because she was all those things that you said, and I see you as being opposite.
Yeah, I would just say she's a person who she carried herself well on the court, as in she got everybody involved. She was making the plays. She was the one who she would get in the paint, was able to be a scoring threat, and then also get to the paint and create for her teammates. And when I went to camps when I was younger, she was always the one leading the drills, doing different things like that. And so that's the reason why I was attracted to the way she played. Yeah, I would agree. I'm not that too flashy, but I do like to get my teammates involved, and I have developed myself to be more of a scoring threat. So.
You have definitely done that. And this year, why so much is this year different than other years where you've not really been in the conversation for the postseason, and now you're squarely like right in the tournament right now as we do this podcast, depending the last couple of games left in the regular season in the ACC than the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I would just say I think I'm more in tune with what my team needs, and I think that that's why I'm more of a scoring threat. I think that by me being that, it's able to draw more defensive attention, which also allows my teammates to be open. And I think I've really been able to figure that piece out, where the more I attack and the more aggressive I am, or whether if I can shoot behind the screen if my defender goes under, then the more I'm a threat, the more my teammates are open, and so it helps our team elevate as a whole.
So let's break down the two-man game a little bit, the ball screen offense and your ability to read the second level. Like if you're a young player listening and like your freshman year, the pressure might have gotten to you a little bit, under duress, maybe not as confident as you are now handling the ball or, making reads. How did you develop the ability to play and all that, the actions, the counters, the multiple things that you guys do offensively?
I think I just developed it with repetition. In practice, whether that be just like learning different ball screens, and like if the post decides to like hard hedge on defense, then know that I can drop back and relook inside. And I think just knowing the fact that I can get the ball inside, it opens up so much more. So how I can read the second line of defense, whether I get downhill and they're chasing me and I can draw the defender and I have the dump pass to the post, or if they go under, I have the shot. So just being able really to understand that um, there's so many different things that you can do by reading what your defense does. So understanding that.
I think people watch the game and they see, uh, I always say ball screen defense, under overhead trap, ice jam, switch, the 7 different ways to guard a ball screen. We really don't need all those in women's basketball. We don't have that many scorers, right? We don't have that many shooters that can come off a screen like you're talking about and pull the trigger. How much time does it take for you as a point guard and now in your senior year, like I know it's not like months or weeks, it's got to be like years to be able to develop the ability to read the second level. Is that through film? You said repetition. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I would say growing up, I would just think repetition, and just like try to rep it out. But now being at like the highest level, I would definitely say film too, and watching it and seeing other people do it and seeing what other teams do and how they are defending it, and then what that person on the opposite end, like the playmaker, what she decided to do in these situations, and also just looking at the clock and realizing what it is that their team needed at that moment and what they were looking for. So I would definitely say that's how I've developed it, is not just repping it out, but also learning the game by watching.
You and Ivana have been on quite a ride. I mean, it's very well documented that you guys were roommates for 3 years, your best buddies. I mean, the climb that Wake Forest has seen is due in large part to the two of you and your development individually, but then collectively. Like you got another partner out there you can definitely count on. Like, what does Ivana do to help open up your game?
Yeah, Ivana draws a lot of defensive attention. And so definitely just like knowing how I can put her in the best situation to be successful. And I know once I get her the ball, she can also create her for herself as well. And just like, we've developed that relationship off the court, on the court. We talk basketball, after games when we were roommates, we would stay up till 3 a.m. when we got back from a late flight, just like replaying the game together. Just talking across the hall in our beds, just like talking about basketball all the time. So I think just like building that relationship and understanding that, I'm going to find her, she'll find me, and we can help bring the team and get the rest of the players involved, has really evolved.
So at this point in the season, and the first thing I asked you was specifically about the NCAA tournament, because that's the thing that's on my mind the most. And I know you have the maturity to be able to discuss it, and it's not going to jinx you or throw you off or anything like that. But, how much do you guys talk about it? Do you think about it? Or does Jen bring it up? Because Jen Hoover, obviously 1988, last time Wake went, you weren't even born yet. I've been on the air longer than you've been alive. I just look back at the Wake Forest teams back then, and I think Jenny Mitchell was such a great player, right? Jenny Hoover.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys talk about it at all? Do you sit around and do you think, or do you realize that if you just get one more stop or one more score, it could mean the difference between getting to play in the NCAA tournament and not?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Hoover definitely brings it up and lets us know that it's right around the corner and that we're knocking on the door, that we are there and we're able to make it to the tournament. But also I think it puts in everybody's mind like what we're capable of doing, but it also allows everyone to just lock in. And we have to, in order to do that, we have Miami, we have Florida State next. So So although it's like the goal that we're trying to reach, we also have the little process that we've been doing all along. So each game at a time is what we've kind of narrowed it down to, and it's 0-0. And then when we play another game, it's 1-0, and then the next game is 1-0. So keep doing the little things in order to make it to our main goal is what we've been focusing on, and so we're going to continue to do that.
I hear a lot of people discuss momentum in a game, right? And I think you can create your own momentum inside the detail of the game. Like if you do things exactly right and you execute offensively and defensively, I think you can build some momentum. What happens when a team goes on a 6-0, 8-0 run? Where does your mindset go when that happens?
My mindset is to get the team together and realize, like, guys, we haven't scored, but that's not what it's about right now. We need to get a stop. We need to get a stop on defense. We need to stop their run. So I think just getting our team to realize that we haven't scored, we're on a spring drought, and the game's all about runs. So being able to get a stop and then run our offense and just stay confident and calm. That's what the game's about. Teams are going to go on runs, but we're also going to go on runs, and hopefully they're bigger runs. So just letting the team realize that, and that we need to lock in on defense, and just being that person who grabs the team together.
Yeah. Mark Packer and Wes Durham are friends of mine. I've known those guys forever. I hate to even say how long I've known Wes. It's been a long time. They love you. They love having you on the show. They talk about Gina Conti. I hear them talking about you on the show. Why do they like you so much?
I'm not sure. I love being on the show, though. I guess they like those yoo-hoos, so maybe that's something. Maybe Coach needs to bring it next time she goes to their office. But no, I love being on the show.
When your basketball career is finished, what are you going to do?
Ooh, well, I would love to play professionally, and then after that, I would love to start a clothing line, whether I work for Nike, and then alongside of doing that, I would love to be a college coach. So something where I can give back to all the games given to me, and then also do that through my clothing line if I'm able to create that as well.
What kind of clothing line are you talking about? Is that an athletic clothing line since you mentioned Nike, or is it something else?
Well, I would like to work for Nike, but no, more just like streetwear kind of, and just like being unique and being yourself. So I don't know, kind of the idea around it is to make every item unique and different. That way everybody can be embraced. And I think, growing up in athletics, I want women to not have to fit a mold and men not to have to fit a mold and just to be themselves. So something along that line.
So I was watching the National Girls and Women in Sports celebration. I think it was called Girls Fest. And my friend, Pepper Persley, is 9 years old, and she was doing some interviews on the virtual event. And at the end of the show, she did an interview with 5 little girls. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. There were 5 little girls that played different sports. So a little girl looked like, I think they were like 8 or 9. And Pepper, who's 9, said to her, who's your inspiration? And the tennis player would say Serena. And the golfer would say, the little girl that played golf would say golfer. There was this little girl that said that played basketball. And when Pepper asked her who her inspiration was, she said Gina Conti. I almost fell out of my chair because I was like, this little girl knows who Gina Conti is. Wow. I thought it was amazing. If you haven't seen the clip, I will get it to you. You have to see it. When I say that to you about a little 8 or 9-year-old little girl, Serena, and they're mentioning all Mia Hamm, and it's going down the list of all these greats. And here's Gina Conti, a Wake Forest senior point guard who's playing basketball, who loves the game. When you hear that, what do you think?
I mean, I get chills, I get goosebumps, because I think that's what it's about, is giving back to the younger generation. And that's what I wanted as a kid, is people to look up to, and to be that for someone else is exactly what I want to do. And I want to keep building off of that, and I want to continue that through the rest of my life. That's what I'm passionate about, is basketball and what the game's given to me, and leaders above me who've been trailblazers of women's basketball. So that gives me chills.
When you recognize that you are a role model, where does that take you?
I would just say that, all the hard work and everything that I've worked towards, it shows that it can pay off. And that's what I want to be. I want to be the leader that, people have been for me, and people I've looked up to. And I would and just be able to be that for someone else and be that role model. It makes me to want to continue who I am, and to keep embracing everything that I've done, and, the impact that people have had on me. So
I wish people could see your face when I mentioned that little girl said your name, because I had the same reaction that you did. I was like, wow. What it means to me is that you're not always in the spotlight. You're a player that has worked and worked and worked. And somebody like me or some of my peers have recognized, the coaches in the league and the ACC, they recognize how hard you've worked, what you've become, why you got to cut the head of the snake off, because you make everything work for your team, and you do it so passionately, and you just play the game the right way with the right attitude, the right body language, all the things that coaches love in players. And when you hear a little girl who, I don't know who that little girl was. I don't even know where she's from. She might be from Winston-Salem. Maybe she's been to a game and she's seen you, but maybe she's seen you on TV and has never seen you in person. It just is amazing to me that we have that kind of power as women to help inspire the next generation. And you've already said it. That's pretty powerful.
Yes, I agree 100%. I mean, just thinking about it, I mean, it just excites me. And wow, to hear that story, I mean, from hearing it from you is awesome. I definitely need to look into it and see who this is. What
Yeah.
the girl.
I'm going to make sure you see it, because you're going to love it. And if you ever feel like you're ever having a bad day, or things don't go your way, or, you forget to go to the next play, this is going to always inspire you. It's going to bring you right back to what you need to be doing, and why. Okay. I've got one more thing for you.
Okay.
I'm going to, I already caught you off guard once. Let me see if I can catch you off guard a second time. All right. I do a fundraiser for Special Olympics. It's called 24 Hours Nothing But Net. So the last 2 years, I have shot free throws for 24 hours for Special Olympics. So I make 100 free throws on the top of the hour for 24 hours for Special Olympics. And if people gave me a penny for every free throw I make, I'm going to make 2,400. It's $24, and it benefits Special Olympics. So the first year I did it, and we raised $85,000, and I shot 94% in the gym. Okay, 94.
Wow.
The second year, because of COVID, I shot in my driveway, and my neighborhood was great, and we had a lot of people, and we did it outside because of COVID. And I shot in my driveway because, just like you, as a little girl, I grew up playing basketball in the driveway, and I thought Special Olympics is grassroots. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to do this fundraiser. And we raised 125,000, and I shot 89% because I let the elements factor in. But I've learned my training will be different, and my training is different right now, getting ready for it. But we've raised over $210,000 for Special Olympics in 2 years. And my goal is, like your goal is to have a clothing line. My goal is that I have a shooter in every state that raises money for their respective state. So when you would go to 24hoursnbn.com, you would see Debbie, South Carolina, and you'd see Sally in South Dakota, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But maybe you could see Gina in Ohio, and we live stream it 24 hours. The whole thing is live streamed. We have actors and sports figures, and we have incredible programming, and the production value continues to increase. But because I have a Special Olympic athlete, and you mentioned my son, Frankie, before we started taping, I was just wondering what you think about, you mentioned a give back. I think every athlete should have one. What do you think your give back might be? Because I feel like that's a part of I have a lot of things that I do, but this is one that is really special to me because it directly impacts the Special Olympic athletes in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely love to be a part of that. And yeah, I feel honored that you would even ask me. But also a thing that I'm very passionate about too as well is Alzheimer's, and that's something that's really big in my life. It's affected my grandma, and that's something that I'm really passionate about as well. But yeah, I for sure love to be a part of that.
I think there's something we might be able to work out. So we'll figure it out when you're done with the NCAA tournament, and when you've got time to work it out. But I could use a shooter in Ohio.
Okay, yes, you can count me in.
It would be fun, I guarantee you. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, I get AARP mail, and I'm out there working on my free throws and my stamina, my conditioning. I assume you know what AARP mail is.
Kinda.
It's the mail they send you when you're old, when they think you're getting ready to retire.
Oh.
It's old people mail.
Okay, so my parents might be getting it soon.
Yeah. Gina, you got a parting shot? Any last thing you'd like to say? I mean, you've been terrific. We've enjoyed having you on the podcast.
That's it. It for me. Thank you so
You're
much for having me.
you're great. I look forward to seeing you at the ACC tournament. I wish you well. Thank you for taking the time. And everybody will be pulling for Wake Forest when you make the NCAA tournament because it will be one of the best stories in college basketball.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.